Trust. Do you trust the government?
You know, they're schemers.
About the small people, and we care about the small people.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
Take a fucking look. You people are out of your fucking minds if you don't believe.
I am telling you as an American, it's time for you to get armed. I don't really care what your background is. I don't care if you're right or left, black or white. It doesn't matter to me. Only an armed nation will survive what's coming in this country. There was a time in Germany before Hitler when the Germans were allowed to have weapons. But then Hitler came along, and one of his first laws was the seizure of all weapons from the German people, precisely to prevent an uprising against his breed of government. Fidel Castro, the good friend of Sean Penn, did the same thing in Cuba. One of the first laws that the Castro criminals enacted in Cuba was to seize the weapons of the Cuban people so there could be no uprising against these illegitimate communist ghouls in Cuba. Tell that to your friend Sean Penn from Ross at Hollywood, California. Tell it to him. Tell him about the rules in Cuba, why there's such peace in Cuba. But let's go to America. We have a Second Amendment. It was given to us, or we gave it to ourselves, our ancestors did, however you want to put it. And in the whole history of America, are you aware of the fact that you've lived through historic times in many ways, including that in this year, for the first time in the history of this great republic, the U.S. Supreme Court reviewed the Second Amendment to determine once and for all whether or not the Second Amendment implied or gave you the right, personal right to bear arms. And the Supreme Court ruled just 5-4. Again, the very same anti-Americans, the same anti-American cabal on the Supreme Court, by a hairbreadth, try to take away your right to protect yourself. Ruth Bad Girl Ginsburg, David Souter, and the others, they said you have no right to protect yourself. They said you have to hide and cower in the basement and wait to be killed. They said leave it to the government to protect you. Well, let me ask you something. Where was the government on 9/11? I know that's a harsh question to ask. There is no government when it comes to terrorism. There's only you. I don't think you understand that yet. There is no government when it comes to terrorism. Terrorism can be anywhere. Terrorism can be everywhere. Terrorism is anywhere, and terrorism is anywhere. That means be vigilant. Be vigilant. That means be aware. That means expect to protect yourself at any time. That means walk like a human, not like a moron. Don't walk like an American stampeding into Walmart to buy a television. Don't be like the idiots in the malls today who have no reason to live. They may as well be an animal, a pack animal with a saddle on their back. That's the way I look at it. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry to tell you that's how I see the world. I have nothing but contempt for people like this, that their whole life is buying some piece of garbage they don't even need. But let's put aside my contempt for the average man. Let me tell you what I'm saying in other words. I'll put it to you in another way. Only vigilance will protect you. That means be ready. One of the first rules, and I'm not a martial artist, but I study all forms of self-defense, including the mental, which is, of course, the ultimate form of self-defense. The first rule of self-defense is always be prepared for an attack. Mentally and physically, always be prepared for an attack. That means if you're a woman and you go into a mall, you've been told, watch your step in a parking lot. You've been told before you unlock your doors, for God's sakes, look around you in a parking lot. See if there's anyone lurking around looking to jump in and grab your keys and take you hostage. Let's put aside terrorism. Let's talk only about our own homegrown animals that are patrolling America right now. So it goes down to the simplest thing. Be prepared, be vigilant. But it goes beyond that. It goes beyond that to be armed. You must get a weapon. You must have a weapon. You must get any weapon that is legal to have and keep it in your house and not worry so much that you're going to use it to kill yourself. If you're a gunophobe or a gun neurotic, I can't help you, then you shouldn't get a weapon. And many liberals, by the way, are against guns because they're afraid they'll shoot themselves, or their wife will shoot them for being the weaklings they are, or one of their drugged up children will take the gun and accidentally shoot themselves. That's the real reason they're afraid of guns, liberals.
Trust. Do you trust the government?
schemers.
About the small people, and we care about the small people.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.
Take a fucking look. You people are out of your fucking minds if you don't believe.
They want our guns. And if you're not with them, cops and military, then you will declare that you're with the Republic now. And don't tell me that I'm a weirdo because I'm upset about this, and I should only go get upset about my favorite football team winning or losing. Listen, I know what tyranny means. I know the bankers are putting poison in our food and water. I know the bankers have stolen $8.5 trillion. I know we're under War Powers Act. I know they're hurting us. I know they're carrying out New World Order. I know they staged those terror attacks. You know what it's like to gut up to this and go out every day and go past the peer pressure and come out day one and say 9/11 was an inside job and lose most of the radio stations I was on? You know what it's like to go to sleep every night knowing you work for a bunch of psychotic killers and you bastards are probably going to end up killing me one day? You know what it's like knowing you've ruined my life? You know what it's like, you sons of bitches? I'm tired of your crap! You commit evil, you're part of an evil system, and we're standing up against you. And the Republic is going to defeat you in the end. Some of us won't make it personally through this, but a lot of us are. And in the end, you are going to be brought to justice for all the kids you kidnapped for CPS, all you CPS workers, all you corrupt bureaucrats, all of you that have had your way with innocent children over and over again, who think your evil's invincible. You're not invincible, and God is going to deal with you. And you are cursed to hell.
Trust. Do you trust the government?
You know, they're schemers.
About the small people, and we care about the small people.
Schemers trying to control their little worlds.